another inspiring episode of the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast, a podcast where we share transformational stories of faith, resilience, healing, creativity, leadership, and legacy. I'm your host, international award winning speaker, author, certified facilitator, certified human rights consultant, and a creative life coach. My name is Michelle Ivala Rosa Kawano. And today I am so excited to welcome Tommy. Tommy, can you say your last name, please?
My last name is Deependal.
Deependal. Okay, I
Yes,
didn't want to mess that up. So, Tommy is a speaker and a coach based in Laos, a man whose life has taken him across the world and whose story is one of finding purpose through transformation. He connected with our community through the 100 Speaker Boot Camp, and from the moment that we spoke, I was clear that his message is one that the world needs to hear. Today, we're talking story about healing, identity, and the power of moving through the world with intention, and what that takes to speak your truth when the truth has cost you something. Welcome, Tommy. Aloha.
somebody, how we say in my part of the world, and I'm very happy to be your guest.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Guests have joined me from around the world, including Africa, Australia, Norway, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, the UK, United States, and here in Hawaii, where I was born and raised. And every conversation is guided by one word, and that word is aloha. For me, aloha is much more than a greeting. It is a way of living. Affirmations and actions, living intentionally while taking daily action towards God's purpose. L, leadership and love, leading ourselves first so that we can serve others well. O, overcoming obstacles, finding strength through life's greatest challenges. H, health and healing, caring for our whole selves, mind, body, spirit, and relationships. And the last A is acute awareness, living with wisdom, gratitude, discernment, and faith. Tommy, you're based in Laos, which tells me your life has taken you far from where you started. Before we
Yes,
talk about where you are now, I want to go back. Who was Tommy before the journey that brought him here? And what changed everything?
let me go far away back in my teenage years. So, in my teenage years, or even on elementary school, I start to get connected with our, we say Nederlanders. So Dutch people that also belong to Netherlands, but in this case from former colonies, and a lot of them from Indonesia. Uh, and then you get in a total different culture, and things start to change. And in my teenage years, because of I was hanging out with this group of people, I always said that when I'm 40, I will live on a tropical island on the beach. And most likely at that time, I had my vision on an Indonesian beach, and life move on. And I learn now that that is kind of setting your goal. You visualize your future, and living and learning, being in sport. In my 20s, I was hardcore bodybuilding, and in my 30s, I just keep on training because it made me feel good. And then with my business partner, while I had in Netherlands an IT consulting company, he was from after a holiday in Thailand where I came very unexpected on the last moment. And after the holiday, he said, let's go back and see what is possible because Indonesia, he had connection with his family there. Uh, but they say, oh, he's a white guy. Well, maybe the situation on the moment is not totally stable and uh, we don't know where it is going. So I ended up in Koh Samui on the beach. So I was in my 40, a couple months in my 40s life year, and I was living on the beach in a tropical island. So what I
Yeah.
was visualizing already as a teenager, and maybe said a couple times more afterwards, but I was not really busy with it, that I was making it like an demanding something in my life. It was just something that I said in my teenage, and that is with everything that I believe. If you strongly see yourself living your goals, living your future, then you will go there. It is like you're creating your future identity.
Wow. That is incredible. I mean, as a teenager, they can say all kinds of stuff, right? They don't
Mm-hmm.
even, a lot of them don't even know what they want. But for you to be like, I'm gonna be doing this on a beach, on a tropical island, I'm gonna be living there. That's incredible that it actually came to pass and
Mm-hmm.
you kept with that throughout your life until you were there in your 40s. That's so amazing. So, the Aloha Always framework, that is what ties all of my guests together, as I said before. Affirmations and actions. What affirmation or belief do you return on the hardest days that you return to? The ones where the old version of you tries to pull you back.
Mm.
What affirmation or belief helps you out?
Well, I'm an extremely positive person, and after I say my affirmation, then I give you a little story from a good friend since my teenage years that came to visit me here in Vientiane, Laos. But I always say, and they make a song about that, right? Don't worry, be happy. Because,
Ah, nice. I love that song.
yeah, because if you have a problem is only a problem if you don't can find a solution. And if you don't can find a
Mm,
solution, then don't worry. Don't let a problem control your present life that you cannot change the circumstance, right? People sit
yep,
too much
yep,
in a
exactly,
story
exactly.
for where they have no influence on, and then they just worry so much on things that they cannot change, is out of their hand, and then this little thing, one little part of their life, control the whole daily life. And for me, this don't worry, be happy. And giving the story, so when my friend came to visit me here in Laos, and while we're sitting with his wife and my wife in a restaurant on the table, and my wife was talking, and then he said, yeah, let me tell you something. He said, Tommy, he is always so positive, even if he would stand on his, until almost till his lips in the shit, like a sewing tank. And then he's already, oh, look over there, a nice restaurant, or a nice sunset beach. Let's go there. And then he said, Tommy, we're standing in the shit above our shoulder. Let's first get out here. Don't worry. Let's go over there. And I think this attitude uh, helped me to stay out of too much hardship.
Yeah, so good, so good. I I actually have a brain aneurysm, and people tell me all the time, it's like, how do you continue to live your life the way you do, knowing that you have this brain aneurysm and you don't know if or when it's going to rupture or whatever, you can't see it. And I'm like, that's the whole point, right? I can't see it. There's nothing that I can do to control what is there right now. So I'm going to live my life. And like you said, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
There's no point in worrying about it and getting myself down about it when I
Mm,
can't do anything about it right now. I just know that, I trust God. I'm like, it's okay. I'll be
mm,
fine. So I like that. Don't worry, be happy. And
yeah.
I've always loved that song. So perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, did
You
you
know,
know
you,
that?
oh, sorry. Go
Yeah, did you know the country of Bhutan have that in their government policies? So if they,
What is that?
if they implement, if they want to bring something new to the country, like
Uh,
say they're living in the mountains between China, Tibet, India. There's a small mountain country. But if they implement something new, let's say they want to implement internet connection in the country, and before they did that, then they asked themselves this question: will it bring me more happiness?
oh,
Right? And I
yeah.
do, in an unconscious way, I use that even before I know that Bhutan had that in their lifestyle. I use it always from, okay, I want this, right? And then you try to work to get something that you need to put some effort, but then all the effort, so your whole life is then fixed on this one goal. And then sometimes you must ask yourself, okay, when I have that or when I reach this goal, will it bring me more happiness?
Yeah.
And then you must give yourself an honest answer. And otherwise, why you would put all the effort and put everything aside for this one goal and you not even know, or it will bring you more happiness, right? People now,
So
let's say,
true. So true. So good.
people always chase money, but if you are not happy with who you are, do you think that having more money will make you more happy? It make you more comfortable, most likely, but doesn't make it you more happy. And if it doesn't make you more happy, then you still
Yeah.
suffer and you still
And
stress
it's
and all the negative.
mm-hmm. And then what's the point in working so hard for that money if you're not able to use it in a way that will make you happy? Because a lot of
Yes.
times that's what people do. They spend hours and hours and hours at work, but really, what is that doing for them in the long run? It's making them sick. It's making them lose time with their families, all of that. So, yeah, it's true. I was working full time, and when I found out about the aneurysm, I changed my schedule and I asked to be put on a part-time schedule because I wanted to be home. I wanted to be present with what I do that makes me happy. Not go to work and be,
Mm,
just working through the days and then you come home and you're exhausted and tired. And with the aneurysm, I do get like worn out more. I get tired. So I was wondering why I was like not able to, like they say, burn the candle at both ends at times, right? I wasn't
mm,
able to do that. I was feeling more tired. And then I realized it's because my body is different now with that aneurysm and having to go through those things. People need to realize what is it that they're doing that will bring them the happiness, not like way, way down the line, but in their moments now, in their present moments, right?
mm,
So, so important to know. Now, you've
mm.
shared your manifesto and your vision board as part of your process. What is the daily action that keeps you aligned with the vision that you've set for your life?
I I meditate and I see it just as a practice to have a moment to be present and maybe even get your internal talk in alignment where you are in life and where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like my morning meditation helped me, that I set my mind already, this going to be a beautiful day. No matter what, it's going to be a beautiful day. And I tell you why it works. Traffic in Southeast Asia, or let's say in most part of the world, traffic is not like in the development world, or what we call the development world, like Western Europe, America and probably parts of Russia, Moscow, where the road conditions are organized and you follow the rules of traffic. Here you have the
Mhm.
same rules, only they get implemented a little bit more freely. And plus, there are many people they not even have driving lesson; they just buy the driver's license, and many not even did the purpose for that. When they see the police and they get stopped, then they give the police officers some money and they drive on. So you must always be aware that something can be happening that in a normal situation back home in the Netherlands would not be happening. I don't say never, but here it is, let's say, a 50-50%, and in Netherlands it would be for 90% sure that that would not be happening, and there's maybe a 10% chance that something happened what you didn't expect. But on the moment that you focus on that, you set your mind on that, you are like a magnet. You attract all the dangerous road situations. And on the moment that you sit from, no, my ride goes smoothly, then it is like I'm driving to a green wave. So that is how I see my meditation. And sometimes after lunch, people maybe go for the nap. For me, I just take a 20-minute reset, do my breathing, close my eyes, and just be present. Don't think, and I don't mean that I don't think. You never shut down your thinking,
Mhm.
but I don't give attention to my thoughts. So I always say to people, as an certified six-phase meditation teacher, see meditation as a kid. For sure, you had times as a kid that you was laying on your back on the grass, looking to the sky and seeing the clouds pass by.
Mhm.
You didn't follow the cloud until it was out of sight because a new one was already coming. You had just a short attention that you was aware of the clouds, and that's it. I said, now do that same with your thoughts. You don't have to give full attention to every thought that crosses your mind. It would make yourself crazy. And if you can do that in a conscious way, that you just sit down or lay down without really falling asleep,
Mhm.
then it gives you so much energy. So that is part what I use to be more present and have a more pleasant day.
Oh, that's so good. The 20-minute reset is something that I would do also, being that before I used to work, I was a teacher before, and we had such short breaks, right? And
Hmm.
so, but yet I was a lead there, so I had to be there, even if the days extended because maybe some parents were late picking up their kids or whatever. I would be the one to stay. So I always knew that in my lunch hour, I would need to do that, but I couldn't go to sleep, right? Because I just might not wake up. And so I would do that. I
Hmm.
would eat my lunch and I would sit in my car and I would just not try not to think of, like you said, not give attention to your thoughts, but just relax and reset. So,
Yes.
I never knew what it was called because I just did it. It worked for me. So I just did it. And for me as a Christian, I felt like it was just spending quiet time with God. And I just did. And so that is so good on how you mentioned reset, because anytime people think that you need to go do this long session. No, you don't. You really don't. You can reset at any time of the day
Hmm.
that you need it. So, leadership and love, the L in Aloha. You've chosen to coach and speak, both which require you to lead others through things you've had to walk through yourself. What
Hmm.
does that kind of leadership feel like from the inside?
Looking back now, so when I started coaching and being a certified life coach and did grow to the program, then
Mhm.
many things that I did over my life already in an unconscious way, it came just natural. And now I was aware of it and more conscious about it. So I had it already as an teenager that I was talking with older people that were family or in the friend circle from my friends, and then they say, "Oh, I can talk so good with you. You listen so well." And in a certain moment, my one of my best friends, a former bodybuilder and coach and stuff like that, and when I really get 100% into professional coaching, then he always said, "Man, you're born. The people are so lucky because you had it your whole life. You always had this kind of teaching, helping people with the education and stuff like that to show them the way, to give them a different view. You always had that. That is natural in you." And yeah, that is how I transitioned. So I didn't make a choice. It just came on my way. In my late 30s, then in the gym, some people ask me to help them because I'm very motivational, and it was as a hobby beside my work, my normal life. But when I came in Bangkok and then in the gym, and I was a walking billboard. I was still 90 kilo, below 10% fat. So I was fit in an bodybuilding way. And people start asking me questions and some guidance, and then they implement it, and then they came to me from, do you also coach people? How much do you ask? And then I was from, oh, this is easy money, and I love what I do. Uh, so uh, so I started to coach, and still I was working for myself as a trading consultant. So I was free, and that is always my goal, to be free, not too much other people telling me what to do. And when I ended up in Vientiane, Laos, again, I was not looking for clients. I was just going to the gym, but the potential clients just came to me. And then when you have two, then recommendations start. And of course, first it was really as an gym coach related, but then when they talk with me and find out about my background, then they go from, oh, you're so much more. I'd like to talk with you, but when I'm busy working out, then I cannot give all the attention to the things and the wisdom in between your words, what you are saying. So I start to do with clients coffee meetings. So the gym where I was working out, they had a restaurant, and so first there, and then we booked sometimes a meeting room by a co-working space, and my coaching started to evolve natural before I even did any coaching certificate. So it was already there. And yeah, I love it to help people improve themselves, feel getting better, or whatever they were troubling with, that I was there as an guide to find their way. That's
Wow.
what I love about.
Yeah, that is so good. I know it's been a while, a long while since getting injured and all my illnesses and stuff, that I was actually in the gym and I was working out, and I had a friend who was a bodybuilder, and it was one of the best times in my life, and it actually changed the way that I think and feel about a lot of things, because it wasn't just improving my outside body, right? My
No.
physical body, but it took a lot of mental strength to do what I did for myself, because I had what was called fibrous dysplasia in my left leg.
Mhm.
And so my leg was 2.25 inches shorter. And as a bodybuilder, you know that it is hard, or you can't do it. You can't do a proper squat if your leg is short. You can't do leg presses, all of that. And so with that, I had to think of ways to do it correctly. I would put a plate
Mm,
under my shoe
yeah.
until I got shoes made to fix
Hmm.
that. But before that, I didn't even like think about my shortness of my leg impacting my entire body, right? And
Mm,
only when I was in the gym and working out did I realize that 2 and a quarter, two and a whatever short does make a huge difference, right?
mm,
So I think people forget that your body is a whole. It is a whole, and any kind of problems or defects can affect everything else. And so
mm,
that's why when I hear people who work out and they're in the gym and, they know what it takes to be bodybuilders, to coach, to compete, that to me is huge because it doesn't just, like I said, at the outside. People see the outside, but they don't know what it took to get that.
no.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
good.
for me, I'm my whole life, right? As a young kid, almost everybody in Netherlands start with football, and well, that was not really my thing. So the football coach told my parents maybe some other sport is better for him. So I ended up doing judo, and that one I love. I did that for 7 8 years, and in the meantime also karate. And because in the 70s, Bruce Lee and all these kung fu movies was popular, so I did also some Wing Chun and Pencak Silat and all these things. I play water polo. I run in the army and half marathon. So you learn discipline, and of
Hmm.
course, if you want to perform better, then you also start to eat better, because you cannot
Yeah.
be disciplined and demand this kind of action from your body on uh, junk food, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I say gut health is also affecting your brain health. It's all connected. And you say already mental, and I say, well, everything is mental. Everything is energy, vibration, and if you get it all connected in a way that fit your lifestyle, then you start to feel
Mhm.
much better.
Yes. So good. So good. I love that because like I said, um, one of my friends, she was the owner of the gym and she was a bodybuilder. And yeah, it took a lot of discipline.
Hmm.
So, so good.
For
But how do you love people well who are exactly where you were once without projecting your journey onto theirs?
uh, well, I love that, because when I'm working with people, they always ask from what I do. And I say
Hmm.
it is not so important what I do on this moment, because also my journey did evolve. Of course, in my 20s, when I want to do competition, I had a different lifestyle than in my 30s, when I still did go to the gym and eat in a certain way, but also was giving more energy to my professional life, to my social life, and all things that make life special. But so then you adjust your training intensity, you adjust the way you eat.
Hmm.
But the most important part is always from give attention to your sleep, to your recovery, because if your recovery is not right, then you break down your system, your biological system. You will get burnout and all kind of health problems when you cannot recover from stress that you put on your body or your mind. So I always show them from I've been there where you are now. Don't try to jump where I am already, because I'm decades ahead of you in my lifestyle. First start by the bottom, right? If you want to climb
Yeah.
the stairs, you don't start on the top. You must first get the first step, and then you go the
Right.
stairs up and you reach the top. You don't jump right away halfway, or you must can
That
jump
is
very high, but mostly you
true.
cannot. So you start from the bottom, and
Yeah.
how better you do that, how more fast you evolve to where you want to be.
Yeah. You mentioned eating right instead of, like the junk food and everything like that. And before I went into the gym, before I started working out, I had problems with my leg. I couldn't even walk. I was 250 pounds. And my doctor was telling me that every step you take, that's 250 pounds on that bad leg. So he said that I would need to at least lose 20 pounds. And I told him that's impossible. You know, I just,
Mm,
I couldn't see how it was that I would lose weight when I can't even work out, I can't even walk. How am I supposed to do that? And so everything in my mind told me it was impossible, right?
mm,
But then I realized, wait, no one is force feeding me, right? They're not stuffing food in my mouth. I'm choosing what I eat when I eat. And I decided that I was going to change the way I ate first. Like you said, start at the bottom. Start on the
mm,
first step. Take care of those things first. And so that's what I did. I started at the bottom and I said, okay, I'm going to change the way that I eat first. Because what's the point in me trying to work out than eating bad anyway? And I think a lot of people do that, where they try to work out what they ate. And they're just
yes.
going into this vicious cycle. So
Yeah.
I lost 30 pounds before I even went to the gym. And at that time, I went from 250 down to 135. And at 135, I kind of didn't like the way I looked. I was too thin, I guess, at that point. And
Hmm.
my eyes looked kind of sunken, and I didn't like it. So now I'm trying to, being that my leg is better, I actually had my femur. Um, they removed that part where the fibrous dysplasia was. They lengthened my leg, so now it's almost correct. They couldn't stretch it out all the way because the tendons, right?
Hmm.
But um, I have a new hip, partially a new femur, and I'm like healing. So I'm thinking, at this stage and age of my life, I'm like, you know what? I can still take care of myself. I still can change the way that I eat and I still can get back into the gym. So, yeah, starting at the bottom,
Yeah, starting the
that is
bottom.
where it's at.
For me, I always give a little example. I said when I started with, so I did strength training already, but then as a complement sport for my martial arts, I just want to get a little bit stronger, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit gain a little bit weight so that I would be a little bit more massive. But I didn't have the goal to be big as possible. It was just to supplement my sport that I already did. But when I start doing that, so I was 16, I was getting a dumbbell set with a barbell from my parents, and I started just training at home the first 2 years before I ended up in the gym. And
Hmm.
then I start to really like it, the atmosphere in the gym, and how the people were helpful. And so you were still working on yourself, but you were still not alone. And then the coach, the gym owner, but he was also the national coach for the powerlifting team and weightlifting team. And he said, "Well, you need to eat more," because at that time I was still on a typical Dutch breakfast, two white toast bread with some sweet on it and a coffee on the side. And I had trouble to swallow that down in the morning. And when I was in my bodybuilding years, I had about 10 slices of multi-grain bread, about 10 eggs, and some yogurt with fruit and cheese and whatever. And then I say, I didn't move from that one day eating two slices of white bread and the next day I eating there uh, triple
10
or
eggs.
four, right, more than I was eating before. I said, no,
Yeah.
that did go gradual. So 1 week you start to change the bread, and then you get a little bit more bread, and then you, beside the sweet on your bread, you start to put an egg, and then you don't take the sweet because you don't want to get too much sugar. It is lose energy. So I
Mm-hmm.
see food also as vibration. So you can categorize food in two groups. One group is it serve your body, and one group is it serve your mind. But it should not be 50-50. It should be like 80-20, 90-10. So the
Mm-hmm.
big number is what is good for your body, and the smaller number what is good for your mind.
Yeah. So
And
good.
mm,
I love that.
be- because your mind is also important, right? But on the other hand, if people say, "From oh, but you emphasize so much on the body," and then I say, how many sick people that have health problems are really happy, right?
Mm.
And like you say already, or sometimes I remember an gym member, and then I see her walking on the street, and I say, "Hey, I didn't." She was pretty overweight. I said, "Hey, I didn't see you lately in the gym." Oh no, I take a little bit of rest because my knees hurt. And I say,
Mm-hmm.
I was always pretty blunt. I said, "Is it not that your knees hurt because you carry too much weight? Your body is not designed for that, right?" I said, "For me, I lift a lot of weight, but I leave the weight in the gym. I don't take it on my back to my car, to my home, and for every step that I do outside of the gym." I
Sure.
said, "But you carry your weight 24/7." And well, she did start losing, and even here in Vientiane, many times I remember one time an country director from the World Wildlife Fund, and I was working with him. And then in a certain moment, my at that time girlfriend, she say, "Oh, I didn't see him for a while, but he looked so much more energetic. He looked younger." And I said, "Well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
now he work out, he give more attention to what he is eating, and he give attention to take sometimes time back that you just sit and be, right?" I say always from you have being and doing.
Yeah.
Find the right balance in being and doing. Don't have always doing.
So good. That is so true. People get stuck in the doing instead of the being.
Mm.
So the O in Aloha is overcoming obstacles. What is the biggest obstacle you've had to face in your own transformation? And what ultimately helped you move through it?
Well, I had a couple. Of course, I'm 66 now, and so you always have some obstacles that come in your life that to overcome. But when I started with bodybuilding, then it was the obstacle was to I want to get big as possible, and then the effort that you need to put in, and train yourself to eat more because you cannot gain weight if you don't eat more. So that was one obstacle. Just change your mindset, and for me
Mm.
now I always say from see your future identity from who you want to be, and try to implement already the things that your future you will doing in his or her daily life. And if you start to implement that now, and it's the same when I moved from Netherlands to Thailand, a different culture, different mentality, different lifestyle. I cannot just copy paste my Dutch being into a Thai society. You need to adjust. So that
Yeah.
was taking some efforts put certain ways of thinking, how I look at life, how I think it should be. I mean, in business, people have a different way how they approach business relations. It is not just tick, 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 and done. There's a kind of building up relation and feeling good with each other. People here, they don't like to do business with someone they don't like. So it is always find your way how you can adjust yourself in certain moments. Don't be the person that always think that you are absolutely right.
Mm.
I love with the founder of Mind Valley, Vishen Lakani. He talked in one of his book about the word rules,
Yeah.
and it's right bullshit rules, because what we think that is right in my hometown in Netherlands, and that was in a small town, or you go to Amsterdam, then the same rules don't apply 100% anymore. And
Yeah.
for sure, that happened when I moved from Netherlands to Thailand. The same rules didn't apply. So they are bullshit rules. They are not universal. They are just there in your little environment where you're living in your little friend circle, and you have it in everything. So I was a while hardcore in the party scene, really the trendy people and stuff like that. If I now look back, it was still a little village. You could drive hours to a new place, even to different countries, that you go to a party in Germany or Belgium, and still you would see the same faces, right? The same
Yeah.
hardcore people that were there, and you could find yourself so wonderful, and oh, we are the king. Yeah, but only in this still little group. So the rules and things, what we were applying to ourselves to be trendy, to look in a certain way, to behave in a certain way, was only beneficial in this little group, because in my consulting business, I need to have a different mask, a different face. You could not apply the same things what you was doing in your party circle. So if you find that kind of balance and see, then it is very easy to solve obstacles that come in your life.
Yeah. That is so true. Obstacles, like you said, it's those rules, like Vishen Lakiani mentioned, and I love Mind Valley, but
Yeah,
it happens everywhere, like you said, it happens everywhere. So the things that the continental US does, they bring it to Hawaii, and that's just not the way we do things here. So
no,
sometimes it's like and I travel the world. I I just was in Scotland and Ireland, France and England, and you have to respect where you are. Like you mentioned before, when you moved to Laos and you had to adjust to those things, you moved to Thailand, you have to adjust to those things. You can't always bring what you have, the luggage that you have, your past, your whatever, and just apply it because it doesn't apply. And so we have to be flexible. When I
mm,
travel the world, I love to learn more about their country, and I don't expect them to cater to me because I'm an American. I
yeah, yeah,
can't speak the language or anything like that, but I try. You know, respect them, and I apologize for the fact that I can't speak whatever language, like in France, it was harder because Scotland, Ireland, England, they all speak English, but in France, it was a little harder. So,
mm,
to remember to go into a restaurant and respect them in the way that they expect it, bonjour, whatever,
mm,
you try. But
mm.
there's too many people that think that they're privileged enough not to even care. And I think that's what makes the world harder.
Mm,
we should all respect the the country, the place that you go, the people. That is something that should be done always, even in our own overcoming those obstacles. Our obstacles doesn't mean you get to put an imposition on someone else.
mm.
Right?
And if
Yeah.
language, then I love now. It just come to my mind. I just get it
Uh-huh.
in my inner voice. What if you see language in two different ways? So we have the tonal language that we
Yeah.
speak by our mouth and our vibrational language. I
Mhm.
just while you was talking and about your travel, then I was from. I remember when I booked with my girlfriend at that time to a trip to Turkey, and we only had the plane ticket. So on the airport there, uh, going to a book to find a place to stay, and we came by an homestay, and it was like we were coming by family. And he even started to bring us somewhere if he had a trip for business in a nearby city or area. And he said, "Oh, I can bring you. Then I drop you there, and then around that time I pick you up." And also with just people on the street that start talking to us youngsters, and then we get invited for a coffee, and even the language was not 100%. They spoke some English, but not
Yeah.
100% conversational level. But still, we had a good time. And my now ex and we were very easy like that. Even when we came on Indonesia, also people just in the train started to talk with us, and on the beach they came to us to ask, or they could sit beside us and make a picture. And I think that is your vibration, because they didn't see us walking around, they didn't see us doing something. It is just that there was something in the vibration that they want to have a moment with us. And people forget that your vibration, what you, how you think and how you feel, that is in your aura. And if your aura is also feed by your system, by your nutrition, it can expand. And they measure that someone that was didn't eat so much nutritional food, that the aura that they could measure had a smaller field than someone that was totally healthy and in a positive mind. Then the aura was much bigger. And even your immune system show now that your food must be on a certain level. And I always say, take take the energy, the vibration from your food. Each food that you eat vibrate with different organs to support this part in your body. So we have two language: a vibrational language and
Oh,
tonal language.
that is incredible because I my husband and I, we always experience the same things where we can be somewhere and people just come and talk with us. They're comfortable with sitting with us. You know, on a cruise ship, they put you basically in the same area for dinner, and then the people that sit next to you, you become, friends over time because you're there
Mm.
for the 2 weeks or 3 weeks that you're traveling. And
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's incredible to recognize that there is language spoken and then there is language lived, right? The way
Mm.
that we live our
Correct.
lives. So that is so good. Ah, I love it. Health and healing. That is something that I had a hard time with before, as I explained. But living in
Mm.
Laos, away from where you started, how do you take care of your heart, your energy, and your spirit in an environment that can be both overwhelming and beautiful all at once?
Um, in my coaching and mentoring program, I teach my clients the first basics, and that is how you start your day and how you finish your day
Mhm.
create your whole life. So in general, people when they wake up, probably now these days, the first thing what they do is reaching to the phone and start looking in the email messaging in the social media apps and stuff like that. For me, I have an hour wake up time. So for me, on the moment that I wake up, I take my first half hour to get myself ready with meditation. It doesn't mean that I meditate in a half hour. You get up, maybe you must first go to the toilet, so that doesn't distract your mind, that you constant focus from, oh, I need to go toilet. So I go first toilet, and then I lay down back in bed and do my breathing to bring my in a meditative state and have my meditation. Then I do a little qigong to wake up my energy lanes, about 10 minutes, short little flow. And on that moment, I open the doors and get out, give attention to my dogs, play with them. We show each other love. And then I start to prepare my breakfast. And so the first hour pass. I drink already on the moment that I'm in the kitchen water on room temperature, and sometimes a little bit lemon so that it tastes have a little bit flavor. But that is my first morning hour. Don't put stress on myself. But it's the same thing with evening. I take an hour downtime, and then it's a little bit other way around. So before I go inside, I do a little uh, qigong flow, 10 minutes about that. Say goodnight to the dogs, and have a little bit relaxed movement. No screen time already, and finish with meditation. So have my shower and taking care of myself. So your whole routine is set. And I always say, see your body as a biological computer. So you program your system, you set this software in it. And on the moment that you do this regular, you will feel different when you skip a part. So if I overslept in the weekend, and then and the phone ring, and then I need to go, and I miss my meditation, then I have less energy. My system is not set, so that make me more grounded, and I have a better night rest. I did once, because I was getting it free with the new smartphone. I was getting a smart watch, and I think, okay, let me, now I have one for free, let me use it
Mhm.
to check my sleep. And I always say you don't need all these gadgets to check. If you tune into your body, you will feel it. But I was surprised that my deep sleep is 3% usually. And that is way higher than average. But then I check with AI from if the watch is not right. And then the AI say, well, you have a lifestyle of being fit and taking care of yourself. So yeah, then it is pretty normal that you have a longer and more percentage of your sleep in deep sleep mode. So it always come back in every part of life if you have a certain lifestyle. But that is how I ground myself in to live my life with full energy and peaceful mind.
That is so good. You know, I was traveling. I was on holiday for almost a month, and I felt good and everything. I came home, and within 2 days, within 2 days I was sore. I was like, "Oh, my sciatica is acting up." My like things was like happening. And then I realized, I was like, "You know what it is?" When I was traveling, I was taking time to relax. I was taking time to tune into myself. I was eating better while I was
Mm,
traveling, and I wasn't sitting at the computer for hours and hours and hours. And within
mm,
those 2 days, I came back and I thought, "Oh, I better get back to work, all of my interviews and podcasts that I have to do." And I had to tell myself, like, my body quickly reminded me that, "No, you are not made to sit in front of the computer for hours and hours,"
mm,
And so it I was like, that was a quick lesson to learn, but I
mm,
was so sore, and it took me maybe another couple days for the pain to go away, because as soon as I realized that, I had to change the things I was doing. I had to move more. I had to, you know, and then the
Hmm.
pain went away. But it
I,
was a good reminder, right? To
mhm.
to see.
I love that you say my body remind me, and for me, I always say your body is talking to you. I say
Yes.
the body give you signals, but you are so occupied with everything else that you don't give attention to the signals. Your body was already talking long time before you was getting an health problem, but you always put
Mhm.
aside. It is almost like when you are with a friend and you have a little kid, and the little kid say, "Mommy, mommy," and then quiet now, darling. I'm talking with and with whoever you're talking to, right? But
Yeah.
the kid was already asking for attention, and it's the same with the body. The body asks regular for attention, but we quiet it down. We don't give it the attention
Mhm.
that it needs. And talking about when you say I was eating better, for Americans compared to European, the food regulations are a little bit different. So I see regular from
Yeah.
Americans when they say I have problem with gluten, eating bread and stuff like that in America. But when I was in Europe, I could eat all the bread and I have no problems. Then I think, well, maybe you should give better attention to what you eat. Maybe you must look to the labels. If you have a label with 35 ingredients that in let's say in my country have less than 10, then you should question yourself why when I was in the
Right.
Netherlands it had only 10 ingredients on the label, and the same product in America have double or triple. Let's say a good example is Heinz ketchup, the American version or the European version, that have different ingredients or less ingredients. So you can get it in America, and certain things then make it. If people say mayonnaise is bad, no, the shop buy mayonnaise, and mayonnaise you can make very easy by yourself from fresh ingredients. So if you need
Yeah.
mayonnaise on some of your food, put some effort. Don't be too lazy. Don't be too comfortable. People want to be too comfortable. A little bit effort is already too much.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I was quickly reminded, but I was glad that I was still paying attention and I was able to correct that right away, because now I stand up and I walk around even though I'm
Mm.
working, right? Take the time to walk away from the computer, move around, move your body.
Yes,
'Cause
even a
yeah,
10 or 15 body weight squats will do already the trick.
yeah, yeah, that is so good. So, what does healing mean to you in this chapter of your life?
Well, like I mentioned before, I'm 66. I'm medicine free. I have none age related issues. And I
Nice.
see it with people that are younger than me that already complaining about, oh, I'm getting old. And I think, well, that is a mindset that get programmed to you. Same as the mindset that age start with decline. It doesn't have to. Decline happen because of your lifestyle. I love a sentence that I always use also in my coaching: use it or lose it, right?
Yeah.
And that go with everything. If I'm still keep learning new things now these days with AI, how I can use it that it benefit me, not that it control me or that I'm totally depending on AI, but how I can implement modern technologies in my life so that it improves the quality of my life. So you need to
Nice.
learn. And I like to learn things or get knowledge about things that are totally not related. So it will not, I will not be using this directly in my life when I learn about history or different religion, or how religion did evolve or decline over time, or how certain societies were somewhere in our history way ahead on Europe, and now behind in a certain way.
Mhm.
And I love that constant learning something new. I always remember from a child book writer back in the Netherlands, and she was on a TV show in her 70s, and the TV host asked how you can still write children books, and she say very easy. I never did let the child in myself die.
Nice.
Right?
That is beautiful.
Hmm. So for me, if they sometimes say from, oh, why you behave like that? You're already this age. I said, why? Is there a law that you cannot do certain things because you have a certain age? I said, don't don't live constant by expectations from someone else.
Right.
It
Society
doesn't.
don't control what you do.
Yeah, it will kill you. It take all your energy away. It costs so much energy to live for someone else. So even in a relation, just be your best self, and probably your partner will like you already for that. Your
Yes.
partner didn't make a choice for you from, this is a nice project that I gonna rebuild to my expectations, right? Your partner was taking you because you were complement each other, you were aligning with each other, not a project to change in the time that we are together. So that make so if you get your mental fitness in balance, then you will have no health issues.
Nice. You know, I'm a author also, and the one thing that I'm now planning on doing is writing a children's series because I know that I've never let the child inside of me die, and now I want to share that. So through my writing, I'll be now putting out a new
Mhm.
series of a children's book, and it'll be inspired by all of the travel that I do around the world. So I love that you mentioned that. So the
Mm.
last A in Aloha, acute awareness. You also create music through Suno. I love Suno. I always use that also. Another form of expression that carries your message. What does music give you that speaking alone can't?
Music, music is everything. Music can give you peace of mind. Music can bring you happiness. Music can bring you excitement. Uh, Music can bring you community. I remember in my teenage years, I'm on the age that I still could see Bob Marley in a live performance. So when you're standing in this concert and Bob Marley and at that time Peter Tosh was still in his band, and, and and the whole vibration that you was getting while listening to the music, and then when you leave the concert, you are in a state of euphoria, bliss. It make you forget everything else. Nothing is important because you are feeling so good. And I think music can be that, but it can also be when you feel sad or relational problems, and that you find comfort in the lyrics from a song that talk about the problems that you suffer on the moment, where you can relate to, and then it gives you some relief. So music can be many things, and like I told you, when I was in this party scene, music could lift me up. At that time, shortly after I had a breakup from a long-term relation, and music was forgetting me everything. and even without any alcohol or party drugs related things where people were taking, they saw me totally happy dancing and big smile on my face, and then they were asked because they saw me with a bottle of water. What did you take? What did you take? Uh, the vibes. I said I had only water. I said, look around you, everybody enjoy themselves. The whole vibe is nice and good. I said that is what I'm absorbing. I'm like a sponge and get everything in me. You don't need
Yeah.
all these external things to get in a certain state of bliss.
Yes, that is so good. You know, music to me is, like you said, it's everything. You can get so much healing through music.
Mm,
I know that I've taken now my poetry and my writing, and now with AI and with Suno, I can put that to music. I have a family of musicians, people that
mm.
can play guitar, and I'm not one of them. I I try, I try to learn the guitar, but I am not um, seasoned enough to put music to my lyrics, and now I can. And so a lot of musicians now, they kind of are upset about the fact that there's AI. And like I said, I have actually family that are musicians, friends that are musicians. And I say, you know what? Thank God that you can do what you do. And I don't take anything away from you as an
Mm,
artist, as an entertainer, as a musician, but I can't. And it would take me a while for me to even try, or I would have to pay a lot of money for someone else to do it for me. Now I have
mm,
that chance. And so I think it's just so amazing that people can use things like AI to not just, let AI do all of the work, but add, to what you do. AI is
mm.
just a tool
It's
that we
just a
use.
tool,
Yeah.
and it is
So it's so
an
good.
extension, right? And when you say
Uh-huh.
uh, that you musicians in the family, I'm sure if one of the musicians in your family use the same tool, that most likely this person get a better music piece out of the same tool than someone that is not a musician, because
Right.
the
Because they
the
know more
vibration is
about it.
there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So with,
Yeah.
with music, that is the good part also. Music is vibration, and
Mhm.
our human body is tuned in to vibration. And you say you're religious, and so if you would say your prayer out loud, then certain words give a certain vibration. That's why
Mhm.
when they have mantras and they go in the meditative state and over keep on repeating the mantras, because the words that they are saying give a special tone, and that is how your pineal gland and stuff like that in your body get tuned, get connected. So
Yeah.
that's why music can bring you a feeling of feel good because of the right
Yeah.
vibration that come to you.
That is so true. Just last night, at our church, there was a worship night, and it's all music, right? Singing and
Mm,
prayer and all of that. And, you know, it's it is just so, like, for me, it brought tears to my eyes seeing the younger generation, worshiping and praying and singing, and it's in that vibration, like you said.
mm.
So what
When you
do
talk,
you
I wait one moment.
uh-huh.
I remember from in the 70s there was a Dutch folk singer, and he was singing from I'm not a Christian, but I come to the church for the music,
Oh.
because he
Yeah.
the vibration in the church with singing and whatever the music there was giving him a state of bliss without even being a Christian. So then you can see how far this
Exactly.
frequency will go.
Right.
Okay.
That's what worship is. So, what do you want people to walk away with from your work? Not just what they learn, but how they feel.
I talk always with people, even if I give them some strength training in my coaching program. It is just a part of coaching because it has so much effect that I see strength training have influence on our brain health and many other things. So it is not about creating a six pack, but I'm happy when they tell me. So sometimes because here in Laos you have so many from health organizations, UN organizations, non-government organizations. So they are mostly on a short-time contract, 4 or 5 years, and they move on. And when I was part of their life in whatever way, and or even conversations, and if I get then an email message years later that they say, "Oh, when I start implementing things where you was talking about, or that what you teach me, and now I feel so much energetic, so much more in balance, so much more in a state of bliss, then I
Yeah.
then I'm very happy. Or because of what you was teaching me, I could do this or this that I would never could do if I didn't met you, because the way you was showing me the way, that is what I love the most.
That is so good. It is so inspiring when you hear someone else tell you that what you shared with them changed their lives. That is so good.
I give you
Thank you. Uh-huh.
a very quick. So I had a client at that time. I was still a fitness coach in the gym, and I was training uh, his wife. And then the wife asked me, or I could train her husband, and he came with a lot of bandage and stuff like that. We were a while busy with weight training, and then he found out that I had a swimming background. So he asked me why I could help him swim, but he had a fear of water. So in my coaching and talking and by the pool and outside of the pool, I help him to get rid of this fear of water. He because he could not stay in water if he could not feel the ground, if he had no touch with his feet. And then 2 years later, after they left Laos, I was getting an email, and he said, "Because of you, I could jump in the middle of the ocean off the boat and was swimming with dolphins." He say, "I would never
Wow.
have this experience if you didn't change my mindset," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Still, when I'm now talking about I get the chill and my hair go up on my arms.
You know, you mentioned Bob Marley. I love Bob Marley. And the one thing that he talks about in one of his songs is one love, right?
Yes,
One
yes,
love. And
one love.
I always think about that, like traveling the world. If everyone could find that place where there's no hatred, no bitterness, no, and just one love, the world would be so much better, so much. But it's like there's so much I don't know what it is, like
I,
competition, or I don't know.
mm,
Competition can be good. So it's
I,
not always competition, but
brainwashing.
as I was in Ireland, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think we just mentioned it before we got on live, is that the one country got split, right?
Mm.
Because somebody got involved, and the way that people think and the way that they look at things and their perception of things changed. And so they split an entire country. Yet, when I was in Ireland, they don't want to be split all the time. Not everyone agrees with being split, you know?
Mm.
And I think it's like that in so many different places where they don't want that split. Society changes the way that people act and behave. And if we could just have one
Mm.
love, right?
I
One heart.
mm,
Let's
mm,
get together and everything will be all right. Like Bob
I
Marley
think
said.
when we watch certain things on TV or the computer less, so I don't say that I'm totally none on world news, but very limited. But
Oh,
in average Western society, the amount of screen time headset in front of the TV or the computer is so high, and you get constant bombarded with news, with certain narrative that they want you to believe. And with me
yeah.
traveling around the world, then I see so many times, well, uh, this is not how I thought it would be, considering how I was taught about it in my home country. So you see
Mhm.
that things are always did view to their little rules society, right?
Yes.
They look
Or
at
like
from
you
their
said,
lens.
narrative.
Yes. So I listened to a lady, a Chinese lady online, and she worked in London, did study there, and was for an international company, had a high-end management job. And in a certain moment, she did go back, and she say how people talk about Chinese society. That is from their view. We have a total different look at all the cameras and all these things what you have in China. Because we have now a much safer life, and before it was there, the life was very uncertain. And if you come in American cities or in European cities where you certain neighborhoods cannot walk because after dark because it is not safe, then I think from
Hmm.
most likely you would be happy if certain things would be changed or copy from countries. The only downside is that you can use it in a wrong way. So and that is where we need to watch for. But we are one, and we are many. So if certain things you don't accept because it have too much influence on the way how you want to live, then go against it. Let it know.
Yeah.
Politicians are servants to society. They are not the rulers. But now many times they get soaked up by power, by greed, and they try to control the people that were choosing for them because they were promising that life would be better, and then they start to be the same, right? If you see now in American politics, he came there to have no more wars, and of course, it is not him as a sole person that decide everything. It is the group behind it. But we end up with a war and in the Middle East, and that affect the rest of the world with getting a source of energy. On the other hand, I think maybe that is good because then we flip the rule book to other sources of energy that are available but suppressed by these big companies because well then they will lose their money. So there are so many things, but we need to change our way of thinking, and we are the creators. And when we change our way of thinking by the mass, all people from the world, then our life will also change.
Yes. So good. Thank you so much, Tommy, for your openness and the depth that you brought to this conversation. Your story reminds us that purpose isn't always found in staying still. Sometimes you have to move across the world to find
Yeah,
yourself. And it
sometimes
is so
yes.
important that we question things, that we ask, that we stand for what we believe in and not just get influenced and not fall into the narratives of society. Because,
Mm.
like you said, we are one, but we are many. So as I said, I was in Scotland and Ireland and England. When I was in Scotland, even there, they talk about that. And we always talk to the people, not just the tour guides, not just, but we talk to the people who actually live there. And so
Mhm.
it is so important to travel the world, to see the world, and not to just believe that everything is the way that it is in your small little space. I live on Hawaii. I live in Hawaii where we have 8 islands, yet our entire island chain is the most secluded in the world because we are surrounded by the Pacific Ocean. So
Yes.
I totally understand that. But thank you so much. Can you share with us where we can connect with you and follow your work?
Well, I think on the screen you see my name, Tommy Diependal. Find me on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn. Uh, if you Google me, or then it is lifestyle coach Tommy, and then you will find my social media links and stuff like that, and you can connect with me if I'm aligning with you and you want to have a personal talk. Connect with me there, reach out to me, and let's see where that bring us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. To everyone listening today, maybe your path has taken you somewhere unexpected. Maybe the journey has been longer and harder than you thought it would be. Let Tommy's story remind you that the distance you've traveled is not wasted. Every mile has been preparing you. So keep walking in aloha. And until next time, when we have another wonderful guest here on the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast, a hui ho and God bless. Bye now. All right.